I'm right coming down the line. Why are you playing Szoboszlai as right back? He doesn't trust Federico, doesn't trust Bradley, doesn't trust Frimpong, doesn't trust Gomez.
Can I add justice? First of all, big up to Crispy Sesh. I mean, he's a member of the channel, so big up yourself. I love this comment because look what he just did. He looked on aspects that are occurring on the pitch and he raised questions with it. He's looking at a team that has arguably, I think, next to Gravenberch, I think Szoboszlai has been their best midfielder. Why? He's questioning now. Why is the manager putting him in right back when they just signed a right back and it's clearly not working, so he had to go with that, and they still got a backup in Connor Bradley. He's looking at Federico Chiesa's performances when he's shared a little bit of time with him. But sorry, not with him. I mean, just bring him on the pitch for a little time this season, and he's looked effective. And he's raising questions about Frimpong and Gomez. This is someone that wants to hold the manager accountable. Now, he's not taking it to the extreme whatsoever and saying slot out or whatever, but he did one thing that Liverpool fans refuse to do. And I'm not going to say everyone because I don't want to offend Liverpool fans who actually hold the team accountable. But the majority just didn't want to hold the team accountable and the manager accountable and just raise questions. Everything is just the same basic answer. It takes time. It's mentality. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. But no one wants to look at a pitch and actually raise some questions that are easy to see. I highly appreciate someone like Crispy Sesh who didn't take the minute to listen to everything I say and just reply with an insultive comment or whatever and just start crying and bitching saying haha 7-0. He actually took that. He's like, you know what, let me raise some questions because this is the facts right here.
That's because people don't like uncomfortable conversations naturally, Staffy, man, because you're looking at Trent. We've spoken about Trent, big miss, you know, going from Trent to Frimpong is pain. It's pain, yeah, because Frimpong is nowhere near Trent when it comes to the technical ability, nowhere near. You know, so they probably flopped on that front. Frimpong's more of a backup for Salah, if anything. You know, the fact that Szoboszlai played in that position ahead of him is a howler, bro. You know what I mean? This guy was missing for weeks. They didn't even really miss him like that. You know what I'm saying? So, they just haven't really... There's certain things that they're not doing right. And tactically, Slot, he's been doing a lot of things wrong as well.
And he has
even against Chelsea, bro, bringing on Endo. When he brought on Endo, that was the end of the game.
Ram here says it's not protecting the players. If 90% of the players are not performing to the level, then it's on the manager. I want to ask a question. And this is for constructive conversations. This is for critical thinking. I'm asking this question. Says who? Where is this fact as you're presenting it coming from? Because I've seen good managers with bad squads not be able to make those players better. As an example, we've seen that in football. Why is it that, for instance, when Arsenal in the first 2 years under Arteta were coming 8th, I know he's a new manager and he's obviously he's got better over time, but why weren't he getting that team into title races? Because the team weren't good enough. And I'm using that as an example. It's about having the conversations and delving into it. I think what Staffy's saying, and if I'm wrong, Staffy, tell me, it's not that 100% you're wrong, Ram. It's that we all want to have conversations and the conversations get shut down as, no, it has to be the manager because 90% of the players are underperforming and that's it. Fact. What is there to debate? What is there to talk about? I'm not even saying you're categorically wrong. I'm asking the question, why is what you're saying the case? Can you show me some examples? Let's have a detailed conversation. And I do think one of my issues with Liverpool's bad performances is that when you try and have conversations, it is met with a resistance. Especially, the weirdest bit is Liverpool fans, and we have a lot that follow my channels, and I respect you all. But if you turn up to a neutral channel, and if you're a Liverpool fan who comes on our shows, and you get annoyed we're asking you questions about Liverpool and we're digging, that strikes me as strange. Go watch Red Men. No, I love Red Men. Great people over there. But just go watch that. It's weird that you'd watch a channel where you know you're going to get challenged because we'll understand bits of what's going on at Liverpool, but you guys know more. And if you say something that confuses us, we'll be like, okay, well, I want to dig a bit deeper. We've got to get better at answering these questions. And my view is this. If you can't articulate the question as how have you come to that number? How have you come to that answer? If you don't have any facts that sit behind your view, then it's hard for people to accept it. You can't just say, because 90% of the players are performing badly, it has to be the manager. Well, maybe a couple of players are it's because of the system. Maybe 2 or 3 of your new signings are not good enough. That may not be on the manager. That may not be the manager's fault, right? So, look, I'm intrigued to get your views on that and your points across. Let's do some super chats here before we get to predictions. How can it possibly be the manager's fault? A pro player doesn't have the professionalism to perform week in, week out. Amorim strokes a Jim in. Look, I think some of it is on the manager. Well, look, Amorim's a great example. My kind of conclusion on Amorim is he hasn't dragged us to this level. He hasn't got us out of this level. So he hasn't had the ability to make marginal gains. He hasn't. Thus far, he hasn't done it. The reason why I say that is 9 months prior to him joining, 10 months, sorry. We also only won back-to-back games once in that period. The win rate for nearly 12 months before he arrived was similar to the win percentage we're at now. That is just a fact that's irrefutable. I agree he hasn't improved us. I understand why he may need to be sacked. But it's why I'm still looking at the bigger picture personally, because we'll probably get an improvement with a better coach. There is no doubt about it, but there will still be a flaw to where this squad can take us to. And I think that's a balanced breakdown and answer. So because I view it that way with Amorim, I also look at Slot and go, definitely he can make some tactical differences and changes. But I'm also looking at certain players and I'm thinking some of the finishing from Mo Salah is nothing to do with the tactics and system. As an example, Konate's a bit like ability on the ball has dissipated. I personally don't think that's because of Slot's tactics. Kirkes, I think he has tried too hard to perform in his opening games. And sometimes in life, and you two, I don't know, you do sales, Staffy? Is your job sales related?
No. Not at all.
Okay. I know Don's is, and Don will get this more so. When you do sales, you can try too hard to sell something to someone and you can burn it because you look desperate, or they might think, oh, you're making it sound really cheap and easy. Exactly. Yeah. So Kirkes on a playing level, I think he's almost trying too hard. I don't think the tactics of what have made Kirkes look the way he's looked. There are some elements. I think the holes in the midfield because of the way the fullbacks are pushing forward and the 10 role, that's there. Equally, I don't think Isak's lack of performances is because of the system. Why? Because Hugo Ekitike has been brilliant in the same role.
No, but here's where I kind of disagree with you, Terry. I do think actually, so I do think a lot of it is on Slot. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't even mad at the people that are blaming Slot for some things. I was mad at the people that are just finding all external excuses outside of just talking about football. I do think Slot is getting a lot wrong. There's a lack of creation that's happening on the pitch. When you talk about Isak as an example on Ekitike, there's many angles to look at it. Number one, Ekitike is a completely different profile than Isak. Ekitike is someone who kind of demands the ball a lot. He goes to the ball rather go away from the ball. When you want to play someone like Isak, you do need someone more of a creator around him, someone like a Wirtz, which is why if you ask a lot of Liverpool fans, they'll tell you Wirtz's best performances came when he was sharing time on the pitch with Isak rather than Ekitike. Not to say that Ekitike is not good, but Ekitike plays in a way that kind of doesn't accommodate for him. And he does drop in certain pockets and areas that Wirtz likes to occupy already. So it kind of creates a little bit of a overload on those areas. So you could look at that and say, you know what? There's reasons why, arguably, can we all agree that Isak is arguably the better striker anyways? I mean, we've seen enough of Isak over the last few years to say, you know what? He is the better striker. But it still doesn't mean that in a certain system, he would outperform Ekitike. I do put some things on Slot. The fact that the ball is being shared between your back line more than your midfield and your front line shows that you have no build-up. Why do you not have no build-up? What is the issue with the flanks? Does Kirkes need a left winger rather than someone who Gakpo's not really a winger. He's more of a one-trick pony who likes to cut in and shoot. So he's more of an inverted attacker rather than an out-and-out winger like Diaz was. Same thing on the other side. You lost the ball progression and the passing from Trent, and now you have a runner in Frimpong. Is that what Salah needs on that side? Do you need someone like Salah in the team when you have the ball and you want to run it through Wirtz and Isak more? That's a question that can go back to the summer and say, Liverpool fans, rightfully so, they all said, give Salah a new contract, we don't care. But I'll tell you this again, if we could revisionize this and go back a year from now, and instead of having conversations, should they renew Salah, let's the race to a question as, should they renew Salah knowing that they're getting Isak and Wirtz in the summer? I bet you at least 50% of people would change their answer. And these are some of the things that you could look at and say, he needs to do better with the players that he has. That's my last say.
I think it's really great, and that's why we have these constructive conversations. And Lou here says it's time. It's the manager's job to get the best out of the players. It's the player's job to be professional. It's the board's job to move on players that aren't good enough.
Is Lou Emery in or out, by the way?
I think I think Lou's one of those United fans who's very intelligent, that understands that even if he goes, there's a long way to go, so it's not really worth the debate.
No, the reason I was just going to say that because this comment could come back to bite her in the ass, because this is the opposite of what Emery is doing.
No, I'm
not getting the rest of his place.
Again, this isn't even disagreeing with what Lou's saying per se. It may be a case of expanding upon it. I still think there's only a certain amount you can get out of certain particular players. I still think there is a limit sometimes, and there are also there's also sometimes players just aren't good enough, or players can hit bad form. I remember in the early 2000s, Ryan Giggs regularly being booed at Old Trafford. He just had an 18-month period where he looked like he'd fallen off. And the club denies this. I think the club were considering selling him at that point. All the big Italian teams wanted him, and he turned things round. And players can also hit bad form, irrespective of who the manager is, because I saw that under Fergie. There's another element here that's being ignored by everybody, and it's the lack of conversation around the difficulty of retaining a league title, maintaining the work rate, the professionalism, the desire to go that extra mile to win every single game. There's a reason why in 140 plus years of English football, it's only something like 19 to 20 times where a team has repeated that won the league title back to back. It doesn't happen very often. There's something in that, and it seems to, and that's not even an issue with Slot per se or the players. It's a hard thing to do. Up until City did it a couple of times in the last decade, the Premier League went nearly 10 years without somebody retaining the league title. Chelsea have done it once. United and City have done it multiple times. Arsenal, those great Arsenal teams that won doubles and went invincible, couldn't go back to back. I think all of these things play a part. Cook Staffy, about time someone says it, is what D King says here. This says players are at fault as much as Slot. Cody doesn't pass the ball to Kirkes. Mo playing selfish. Everyone wanted to prove themselves after the new signings. Ego is one of the issues. It's a fair point. Again, it's a fair challenge in there. Salah seldom tracked back last season with Trent. This season, Liverpool fans expect him to this time. Yeah.
I heard a Liverpool fan saying last game, Salah's not tracking back. You need him to track back. I know, like, he didn't track back his whole career at Liverpool. Why the fuck are all of a sudden need him to track back?
And exactly, bro. And it goes back to the point that I used to talk about with Hazard and the role that they play, right? Hazard never used to just stay up, just waiting for the ball and just be in the final third. That guy was everywhere, right? So again, it proves my point even more.
Hey, remember that term I used, target winger? I used it when I described Mbumo during the summer. You remember that? I said those wingers that you can lump the ball to them and it will stick to them. That's who Salah's always been. There's a reason why Salah actually doesn't track back. It's because you can actually kick the ball forward to him, will bring it down, and he'll start a counterattack for you.
No,
now you're looking at deficiencies in his game because you no longer could cover it, and that's on the men.
Yeah, he's not covering it with the GA. He's not covering it with the GA.
Well,
that's
it's partly on the but this is again, maybe it's the manager. But if the new contract's been given by Hughes and Edwards, and what Hughes and Edwards should have been reviewing, I'm not saying that Mo Salah's. This can happen to footballers. Footballers can have a summer off, and their bodies can. When you're older, and if you're not in your early mid-30s and older, you just don't. Well, you won't understand this. Maybe if you're like a bit of a drinker, as in you go out a lot with your mates. Maybe you've experienced it where suddenly you're like 28, 29, 30, and you go out a couple of nights back to back, and then it takes you a week to recover. Where before you could get up in the morning and have a full English and a Red Bull, and you felt fine within an hour. Your body changes when you get older, and some athletes just go from being brilliant, and there can be this drop off. And players of Salah's level, you notice it on. But if he has declined over the summer, and there is a drop off because of age, I look more at Hughes and Edwards, because they should be assessing every bit of data before they make an offer to sign a player. The manager also in that, but the managers at Liverpool don't make those decisions, especially Slot. He hasn't got the power there yet. Those guys do. So if he has fallen off, I'm not blaming the manager or even his teammates for the deficiencies now standing out more because he's not able to compensate them. Because I think most players have deficiencies. It's just, Lionel Messi as an example. If he wasn't scoring and creating at the level that he was, he'd been a horrible player in the team. Never tracked back, didn't get involved in defending, spent the last 8 years of his top flight career walking about the pitch unless he was attacking. But it was fine for Messi because he delivered so much up the other end. He impacted the game so much. Cristiano Ronaldo has become that kind of player. Like in the Portugal team, he does, because I heard Roy Keane have a podcast. He doesn't press though. Yeah, because he's finishing off chances. He's scoring goals. It's when he doesn't do that, like at the last Euros, that's when he's a problem because you're a player down. With Liverpool not being as good, it could be new players to a new league and how new teammates play, etc. But Salah not good. We now see how good Slot is. So great point, B. Score predictions on this game, because Liverpool fans are saying we're going to get smoked this weekend. How do you think it's going to go? What's your score prediction, Don?
Ooh, it just came to me. I'm gonna say 3-1 Liverpool. I just caught it. I just sat yeah, you know what I mean? I just, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I'll say 3-1 Liverpool, man. I'll say 3-1 Liverpool. I think that midfield battle, bro, the way Amram sets it up against these lot, boy, you're gonna lose that midfield battle, man. You know? I'll probably say 3-1 Liverpool.
Every time I predicted United lost this season, we ended up winning. And I do want to win on the weekend. And I want to be realistic. So I will still predict a Liverpool win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
Those would get destroyed and smoked on Saturday, so...
I know what's about to come from Terry. Look, I can just see it. I can see it in his face.
Terry, just do the right thing. Do the right thing. You know me.
Just do it.
I'm going to say this now. With Liverpool's deficiencies this season, if they're on show this weekend, they don't make those changes. The way this Man United team is built, we should exploit it. But we won't.
Oh, we won't.
And that's the pain. The only way we could is if Anfield do us a favor, the fans. If the fans are nervous and quiet, then we might pull something off. But this is what's going to happen. The fans are going to be up for it. There's going to be some early crunching tackles. Our players are going to fade in that limelight, and we'll end up losing at least. I think it's going to be at least 3-0 this weekend. I don't know. Yeah, at least 3-0, man. I think we're going to have 4 or 5 really good chances to score and miss all of them, or have them saved, whichever way around that goes. I think it'd be another one of those games where we'll deserve to lose, but there'll be this element of, why can't this team handle pressure and convert chances? It's going to be.
Are you excited to see what's that guy in goal now? Is it Larmans?
The mains.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like he's going to start listening to what Ruben Amorim said today. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it was just nice to see somebody catch a ball out the air with no problems. And I hope that continues. We haven't been able to catch. Our goalies have not been able to catch colds